There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Well, hello and welcome to a brand new week here on the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. Hey, Tim, how are you?
Doing well.
Seems like it's been forever.
It does seem like it's been forever, hasn't it?
It's only been a few days, though, Tim. We're back. Stop whining already, for God's sakes.
I'm sorry.
We've got a whole new week of supernatural fun coming your way, including alien abductions, Tim.
Ooh.
Yeah, Daryl Sims is going to join us tomorrow as we talk about alien abductions and implants. Amazing story. You guys have to tune in for this one. It is astounding. Today, we've got supernatural news. We've got Parashare. You guys wanted more. We'll give you more this Monday because, well, that's the way we work. All right, let's get started, though, real quickly. Before we get into Parashare and supernatural news, Tim, joining me on the line right now, we've got Andrea Lacey, and Andrea is with a production company. And Andrea, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Talk to us a little bit about what you're doing and how we can help you find storytellers for your show.
Okay, great. So we are a production company based out of Toronto called Cream Productions, and we're working on a new paranormal series. So we're looking for your spookiest stories of anything to do with the supernatural. We're doing everything from Sasquatch to UFOs to spirits. And basically, we would love for you guys to submit some stories.
Now, you're looking for
possibly appear on the show.
You're looking for kind of a different take, though, right? You're looking for stories that take place outside.
That's right. That's right. So we're kind of trying to do something a little bit different rather than going for the normal sort of haunted house thing. We're going for stories that happen outside. So in the woods or by lakes or anything to do with the outdoors.
Yeah, my favorite places, Tim. The out of doors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of creepy, weird stories that happen outdoors. I've only had 4. I talked to Andrea about this the other day, and we went over my weird stories. I've only had 4 really creepy, weird, outdoor paranormal stories. Lots of weird, just normal paranormal or normal outdoor stories, but 4 dealing with the strange and supernatural. So, yeah, if you're interested, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best way to reach out and share their stories?
So I would say email. My email address is alacey, so ALACEY, at Cream Productions, CREAM, productions.com. And if you shoot me an email with your story and just the best way to contact you, I'll get in touch if I think it's a good fit.
Great. Yeah. So be descriptive, be full on and honest about your story, though, folks. If you've had a weird encounter outdoors with ghosts, angels, demons, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Chupacabra, Mothman, any kind of weird outdoor experience, they want to hear from you. And again, give them that email one more time.
Okay, so it's alacey, ALACEY, at Cream Productions, CREAM, productions with an S.com.
All right. And now you guys have been collecting quite a few stories. Are you getting some that are starting to make your hair stand up a little on end listening to them?
Absolutely. I'm working from home today, which I shouldn't do because I'm by myself, and I get quite terrified hearing all these stories.
Come on.
But I'm loving them, so keep them coming.
Well, see, you're safe. You're inside. You're just hearing outside stories, so you should be perfectly safe. Now, when people are reaching out to you and telling you their story, how detailed of an email do you want from them?
It doesn't have to be, you don't have to, write pages or anything, but the more detail, the better. Give us a sense of what happened, and your feelings about it as well, how you felt about seeing this or experiencing this. And those stories that we think are a good fit, we'll definitely contact you.
That'd be great. And listen, folks, I'm going to give you a little hint here from your old pal, Dave. when you write this email, use the spell check feature. That's always helpful. And feel free to break it up into paragraphs, not just one giant continuous vomit of words, because it makes it, it's impossible to read. And if Andrea is anything like I am, she's going to read the first 3 sentences and then just throw it out because it's too much of a pain. Break them up into smaller paragraphs. And punctuation is nice, some capitalization. I don't want to be like a whiny guy about this, but I'll tell you what, it makes it easier when I have to read the stories on our show on Monday nights. And I'm sure with the amount of email that Andrea is going to get for this, if you want yours to stand out, certainly, just use spell check and break it up into paragraphs. And if they happen to have any kind of evidence, like a photograph, a video, anything like that. Should they include that with the initial email?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We love evidence.
Now,
yeah, absolutely.
What happens if there is no evidence? Like I talked to you about my cases and they were personal firsthand accounts, but I don't have a photograph of my Bigfoot or my UFO or the angel encounter I had or the creepy ghost wolves that were trying to eat me in the woods. What do you do if you don't have one? Are you still interested in those stories, even if you don't have any kind of physical evidence to prove this?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it's a good story and I'm interested, I'll definitely chat with you. And, I just sort of, it's a kind of a judgment call on my part if the person is, a credible witness or not. If you do have other witnesses, amazing. If you don't let that deter you from sending me your story. Now,
let me throw this at you too, Stacey, because I want to know, or Stacey, I'm sorry, Andrea.
It's okay.
So many names. Andrea, when people decide, to send you their story, you look at it and you find a story you like. A lot of people, have been reached by other production companies, and then they have to try to find time to fly out to California or fly out to New York or fly out to Chicago to do filming. How does it work with you guys?
Well, that's the beauty of it. We will come to you. And it sort of works as an interview. I'm sure you guys have seen these kinds of shows before, where it works as sort of an interview cut with the reenactments. So the interview part is where you'll play the role, and we'll come and we'll interview you, and it takes about half a day max. Yeah.
Now, if my story gets picked up, is there any chance of getting Bruce Willis to play me in the scene?
Absolutely. I think that's casting.
You lie with a really good straight face. I like that.
You can't see my face right now.
Exactly. That's the point. Well, that's cool. All right. So if you guys are listening and you have your own strange encounters, certainly continue to send them in to me, Dave@darknessradio.com, because we want to read them on our Parashare episodes. But if you want to chat at the big time, Tim, if you want to be on TV, and you want to share your story with millions of viewers across the world, well, then this is the way to do it. Give them that email address one more time for me, Andrea.
All right. So it's Lacey, ALACEY at creamproductions.com.
And it's CREAM.
CREAM.
All right. Creamproductions.com. Check it out for yourself. Be a part of it. Thank you for letting us in on this. And hopefully our listeners will be good to go. And please let me know as you get more stories. If they're from Darkness Radio and Beyond the Darkness listeners, we'd love to let them know that you guys are going to be featuring some of their stories.
Oh, 100%. I definitely will.
Fantastic. So make sure when you write to Andrea, you tell her you heard about it here on Beyond the Darkness. And they'll alert us so that, when your episode airs, what's going on, we can help promote it and let everybody know where they can see your story as it unfolds on TV. All right. Well, that's it with Andrea, but we've got a lot more to share with you. Mr. Dennis at the Supernatural News Desk. Where shall we begin now?
Well, Dave, we're actually headed off to heaven.
Heaven,
Dave.
I don't think I'm packed for that.
I'm not either. I'll be completely honest with you. I've had my fair share of scrapes with heaven this last few months, but I'm not ready to go there either.
Well, at least you've had some scrapes with heaven, Tim. It could have been much worse.
Isn't heaven hot and smells like sulfur?
Yeah. I guess it depends on your version of heaven, son.
Oh, well.
I'm not here to judge you. I just know that if I knew today was a trip to heaven, I would not be wearing the T-shirt I'm wearing, Tim.
Either that or I thought I was in Florida, one or the other.
I've got on my Show Me Your Orbs T-shirt, Tim.
You have one?
Yes, it's my Show Me My Orbs T-shirt, and I don't think this is the way I should show up at the pearly gates.
No, probably not. No. You might be judged.
Although I have a pretty good idea God's got a good sense of humor.
I think he does.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, speaking of if he has a good sense of humor or not, do you believe, now you're a dog owner and you've had plenty of dogs, And I've had plenty of dogs as well.
Yes.
I won't tell you where they disappeared to.
No.
But I've had
they're
plenty.
living upstate in a farm with Grandma and Grandpa, Tim, so
They
they can
always do.
live free. Yeah,
They always do.
Yeah.
But do you believe dogs go to heaven?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about cats.
No, I don't think they do. No.
My 2 cats will, because they're loving, affectionate, sweet beasts that
Right.
are unlike, I'm pretty sure they're mostly dog DNA and part alien.
Every cat owner says that, Dave.
No, it's true. In my situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to tell you, first of all, I'm going to veer off here for a second. I get so much flack online from cat owners.
Well,
no,
you
my
should.
cat is different.
Yeah.
And then I find the story that says, look at this person was attacked for perfectly no good reason by their cat.
Well, maybe to the cat it was a perfectly good reason.
Like I was
don't
just
know.
opening up a Christmas gift and all of a sudden out of
Yes.
nowhere it attacked your ear.
You don't know what that cat noticed, Tim. Maybe you were about to unwrap a demon and they were trying to deflect you from doing that.
Yeah. That's why everyone should be a dog owner. Okay, so today's
Dog
paranormal.
racist you.
Well, I'm partial to dogs. I
guess
wouldn't
so.
go as far as racist, but I'm very partial to dogs because dogs will only bite your face off if they're angry.
No, that's not true.
Oh, well, surely will.
No, we homesteaded for a dog. What do you call it? Not homesteaded.
Homestead.
What do you call it when you're fostering? We fostered a dog.
Foreign exchange student?
Yes, to try this dog out, and it was a delightful boxer pit bull mix, Tim. And they're like, "Oh, Petey is the greatest dog ever," and we had Petey for 2 days. Second day, my lovely daughter Ripley, who you know is just an angel in human form,
Right.
sat down to just chat with the puppy.
Okay.
And it was a full-grown dog,
Right.
but there was no aggressive tendency. The dog was just laying there, and Ripley sat down and she said, "Hi, baby," and it lunged and bit her in the face.
Oh, my God. See,
That's a dog, Tim. That was a dog.
with cat tendencies, Dave.
No, whatever.
It was crossbred with a cat.
I don't think this thing was massive, unless it was like a saber-tooth tiger. I don't
And
know.
with Skynet. It was crossbred with Skynet
Son,
and a
you've
tiger.
got some paranoid issues, that's for sure.
Well, maybe a few.
Let's get to this story.
Okay, well, this news story features Mark Howard, an international psychic from Cape Town, South Africa, who makes an extraordinary claim about how he discovered the paranormal fate of man's best friend.
Okay.
While some may dismiss that question as absurd, dog lovers and paranormal news reporters everywhere have asked it often enough for the Roman Catholic Church to now take the question seriously and provide answers. Howard's tale of his paranormal discovery, though, is anything but orthodox.
Okay.
Mark Howard is an active lead medium for the Scream Paranormal Investigative Team, otherwise known as SPIT.
Are you kidding me?
I
Scream Paranormal Investigative Team. That would be SPIT.
I put the acronym together.
They should have gone with Wily Adventurous Dudes afterwards, so it would have been Spit Wad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we could put something in their suggestion box.
Do people still have those things?
I think they do.
All right.
Howard's paranormal investigation resume includes sites frequently mentioned in the paranormal news, like the Black Swan Hotel in Wiltshire, UK, and the Black Horse Pub in Pluckley. Pluckley. That's my favorite new town name now, which is widely reported in the news as one of the most haunted villages in the UK today. Pluckley, Dave.
Pluckley.
Haunted Pluckley,
Oh, well, that's a good place to be.
as opposed to Planted Huckley.
That's right.
Which I say when I'm drunk. Howard also works with individuals using his psychic abilities. Now, he relates that he recently encountered the question about whether dogs go to heaven while working with a family to help a recently deceased loved one through their time of need. He said that the question was a striking one that he had not considered, even with his extensive paranormal experience. While there are varying opinions in the paranormal community, and even within the papacy, most of them are informed by the teachings or dogmas. Get it? Dogmas?
No.
I don't either. Of the surrounding culture. For instance, different popes have come up with completely different paranormal views of pets, based on the contemporary doctrines of their days. Pope Pius IX, that's how he wanted to be known because he was gangster like that, Dave.
Was it?
Yeah.
Pope Pius the Ninth? No, he went Pope Pius IX.
No, he went IX, son.
All right.
IX, son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Believed that only beings with souls could enter heaven.
Well, dogs have soul.
He said, listen here. Here's what I believe. The doggy has to have a soul.
Are you sure he was Italian?
They get into heaven. Oh, yeah.
What was that part?
To get into heaven.
Okay.
He had a little stuttering problem,
I guess,
Dave.
apparently.
Yeah.
Poor Pope Pius the IX.
The IX.
Yeah.
That's how he wanted to be known. And he did this thing. You can't see it because it's radio. Mm-hmm. But he did the X symbol like you would do if you scored a touchdown. I'm just saying.
Who does an X symbol when you score a touchdown?
That one guy from Kansas City like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I forget.
Way to be relevant.
All Chiefs fans, you can email Dave at dave@darknessradio.com and let him know who it was.
Okay.
So he believed that only beings with souls could enter heaven. And since animals didn't have souls.
What?
That's what Pope Pius IX said, Dave.
I think that's full of baloney. Pope Pius.
Although DMX would argue with him.
Right. Well, I'm arguing with him. I'm Darkness Dave.
Yeah. Dogs wouldn't make it to heaven, according to Pope Pius IX. Yeah. The bad news about Fido then changed into something good.
Yeah.
As views about the paranormal and theology, for that matter, were changing as well. In 1990, Pope John Paul II.
Oh, I loved him when he was hanging out with Pope Ringo John, too.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Or
when
George.
when they were the Beatles of heaven.
Yeah.
Determined in a papal audience that animals do have souls.
I knew it.
He flipped the script, son.
That's right. He was, you know what? He was the Pope of the people.
My boy
Jean
Paul.
Paul.
My boy Paul Deuce. That's what I was trying to say.
Deuce.
Paul Deuce.
No, don't ever call Pope John Paul.
No?
Paul Deuce.
Paul Deuce. My boy Paul Deuce. He stepped up.
Yeah.
He was like, these doggies, they got a little something inside. They got a little something inside.
That's what he said?
They going straight up, son.
Okay.
That's what he said.
I don't believe that at all.
That's what he said.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard him.
Have you got audio on this? How do we know that you're quoting so eloquently what they've actually said?
Saw it on NBC News.
So let's get this right. Pope Pius the IX definitely had the Italian accent.
Yeah.
Pope Jean Paul was more ghetto, is what you're saying.
He was
more urban. What's the proper term now? I don't want to be urban.
He was urban.
Yeah,
He was urban. He was a man of the people, Dave. Mm-hmm. He basically got down on their level and spoke to them. As opposed to Pope Pius IX, who really just didn't give a flying you-know-what about anybody.
He was kind of pious, if you ask me.
He was! Mm-hmm. That's why they named him that.
No. I see how that works out.
Of course, most paranormal investigators have already determined that animals at the least have a spirit, with an abundance of evidence about pets and paranormal research news. That's where Howard steps in with a significant claim.
Okay.
He says that his description came directly from the paranormal work that he does.
Okay.
As a spirit told him the answer to the question the family had posed in that very session.
No, that's good enough for me. If a spirit told him, it must be true.
What if a spirit gave you bad stock market advice?
It's happened.
And you took it?
Yeah. Euro Disney my ass.
See?
Still paying for that one.
Howard explains that the spirit told him that on the spiritual plane, when a spirit arrives, he or she is given a room.
Oh, that's nice.
Much like when you show up at Super 8.
That's cool.
Although if you don't have a credit card, you wait in the lobby.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Of course, room is a word with a limited connotation on Earth, so it would be more accurate to say someone is granted a space in which to transition into his next iteration in the paranormal sense.
Are we talking like a Motel 6 room, or are we talking like those crazy Japanese hotels where you're like put in a drawer?
Yeah,
is that what that's our space?
It's your Japanese.
We lay
drawer.
there. We lay there. My Japanese drawers.
Yes,
you say? Okay.
Your Japanese drawers. Although they do have the bidet.
Oh,
I don't know if have you ever partook?
No, I'm more of a fan of the Benite.
Oh, well. Let's just say there's nothing wrong with a little water tickle at the end of your excursion.
Leave my excursion out of this.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
As a part of the healing time that one spends in this paranormal... A bubbler. You're not supposed to drink from it!
This water tastes weird.
Do you think it's a water fountain for dogs?
Why not? Bidet? The dogs are like, hell yeah, finally.
Look I don't have to dip my head in. It just comes right to me.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
Good God.
As a part of the healing time that one spends in this paranormal space, one is granted the ability to create in that space.
Yes.
Then Howard explains what this means for dog lovers.
So I'm kind of like my own interior decorator while I'm there.
You're your own feng shui, Dave.
Wow. Everybody feng shui tonight.
I know. I love that song. It gets stuck in your head and you can't get it out for like 3 days.
Everybody feng shui.
Yeah. He says you can invite anyone you want into your room at any time.
Really?
I wish I would have had that as a teenager.
Yeah.
And I can visit loved ones' rooms.
Really?
But you have to be invited in first. You cannot just enter. This sounds like vampire rules.
Also kind of sounds like Thunderdome.
It does.
2 men enter,
Yeah.
1 man leaves.
Yeah. You can be in many rooms at the same time.
Wow.
Because your room is yours.
Oh.
You can also bring in your pets and animals.
Yay.
That you have a strong bond with.
Cool.
When you were on the Earth plane. They are not restricted to your room, but are with you all the time.
Oh.
So they can roam where they want to, Dave.
Yeah.
They can roam around the world.
I knew that was coming.
So do dogs go to heaven? You
hope
betcha
so.
they do.
Woohoo!
Says this here psychic.
I hope they're not pooping in my space because I've had enough of that here
Right?
on this planet. Yeah.
Do they have pooper scoopers up there in your
I don't
room?
know.
Or at least
There ain't
litter
no
boxes?
pooper scoopers in heaven, and I don't want to go.
In heaven there is no beer. Of course,
Travesty.
I know. I don't want to go there if there's no beer. Of course, that paranormal news isn't just good news for dogs because according to Howard, as long as they're invited, cats, lizards, birds, fish, Dave,
No, don't say it.
snakes.
No.
Yeah.
See, I don't believe this guy's a lunatic now. First of all, who in their right mind would invite a ghost snake?
Jake the Snake Roberts.
No. See, now I'm going to have to caulk my
You're gonna-
space.
what?
I'm going to put my caulk all over inside
What?
the space. Yeah, Tim.
You're
I
gonna
don't.
do what?
We got to seal up all the holes with my caulk because I don't
what?
want any snakes sneaking into my space.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. You want to do anything bad in heaven, they'll kick you out.
No, I'm not. That's not bad. They said it's my space. I can create with it. I just want to whip my cock out.
Oh, my God.
And seal all the seams, Tim, so that I don't feel like my space is being penetrated by a large serpent.
Put it back in your heavenly diaper, mister.
No, I just got to remember to pack my cock when I go.
What?
Yeah, got to have a cock gun.
What?
Tim, cock guns. You act like this is a foreign idea to you.
I never called it a gun. I mean, maybe a small pistol.
Love gun.
I
don't know where that.
I had that album when I was like
Who didn't?
10 years old.
Yeah, I can't. I have no singing voice ever. I've
tried
blown
to,
out my voice. It's gone.
I tried to convince my parents when I bought the album
Yes.
that it was a bunch of mimes on the front.
What was it? Sexy mimes.
Sexy mimes.
Sexy mimes.
Yeah, they bought it.
Yeah, that's cool.
They were a little naive.
Yeah, we are really digressing. So
We
the
are.
fact is,
Okay,
they're trying to say that dogs, cats, hamsters, lizards, birds, and snakes.
Fish, snakes, ferrets.
Where are
Why-
fish going to go? Where are fish going to go?
In a little bowl, Dave.
Really?
with some
Is there
water.
heavenly bowls?
Well,
Yeah.
ferrets. I don't know why ferrets.
Why not? They're cute and
They-
fuzzy and
they-
adorable.
They smell.
Well, so do
They'll
snakes.
stink up your heavenly room.
whatever.
Yeah. And any other beloved pet can be invited in for a visit on the spiritual plane. So, yes, according to Howard, people will see their pets in heaven. The final conclusion, even shared by Pope Francis, is to be kind to animals.
Oh,
Paranormal investigators would add it's a good idea because you don't want a haunting.
right. Well, and karma. Be nice to animals.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple. Be nice. How about just don't be a dick, period. People or animals. Just live a life worth living. So, see, now I'm feeling better, Tim, about death. I still don't like it. I'm still terrified of it. And unless you have some way to make me feel better about dying, Tim. Well, I mean, I feel a little better now knowing that I can share my my space with my dogs, my cats,
Yeah.
my salamanders. Again, not to brag, but I'm pulling out my cock and sealing it all up so
God,
that there's
Dave.
no snakes getting in.
There's enough kids around here as there is. Don't leave
Yeah,
it where
well,
it
you know
was.
what? It's like the Survivor Series, Heaven's Survivor Series. You're allowed to bring one thing. I'm bringing my cock.
Well,
It's true.
I'm sure the good Lord will look up on that.
Well, sure. He's going to be like, Schrader's thinking. Look at the way he's filling in the holes.
Look what he's thinking with
Yeah.
his cock.
Yeah, my cock gun.
Okay, I do have something that may make you a little nervous about death.
It's going to make me nervous about death?
Maybe a little.
Nothing to make me feel better? about how to confront it, how to face my fears and overachieve it?
Oh, okay, maybe.
Okay. Well,
maybe.
I like that you feel strongly in no direction.
I don't know how you're going to react to this.
Okay, let me hear it.
I could have just went from making you completely comfortable with
Sure.
death to ready to climb the wall.
All right, let me hear.
You-
I'm already uncomfortable with the idea that snakes might be in heaven.
Well, they're all over the place.
No.
Where do you think St. Patrick
They're not
faced
in
him
Hawaii.
to?
There's no snakes in Hawaii.
Well, you know why?
Sun's too hot.
They're over on the next island.
What?
I don't know.
All right.
So you can now confront death with an out-of-body virtual reality experience.
What?
Dave.
Wait, I
And-
can confront death?
You can confront it. You can get in his face and you can say, "You, Mr. Death. You, Mr. Death, I just hate you and your ugly ass face."
A little Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah.
Nice reference. Okay, so I can face death in a virtual
Confront
reality
it.
world
Yeah.
in order to beat my fears.
Pardon me. Well, all your fears.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
An experiment makes its users feel like floating ghosts by bombarding them with balls, Dave.
Wait a minute.
With balls.
So in order to get over my fear of death, you're going to bombard me with balls.
Yeah, we're going to hit you with a lot of balls.
Wow.
Yeah. Researchers at the University of Barcelona
Yeah.
are using virtual reality to try and help subjects get over their fear of death.
They are so drunk in Barcelona.
They are.
So,
But they had an Olympics there.
so they feel that what kind of balls are they, like ping pong balls?
They're pretty impressive balls, Dave.
Are they
Yeah. They're
big balls, little balls?
they're quite big balls.
Really?
They're such big balls.
They're dirty big balls?
Yes, they are, Dave. Yeah. And he's got big balls. And
Well, wait, no,
she's
get
got-
back to this.
Okay.
How do I get over the fear of death by being bombarded by blue balls?
how'd you know they were blue?
They're always blue.
All right.
Blue or red.
All right.
And I'm going to guess to get you over the fear of death, they're not going to use red, which is automatically a trigger color to as a warning. I would go with blue balls. I'll take blue balls for 500.
Good call. The VR project, created by Professor Mel Slater and his team, aims to induce an out-of-body experience in its user by tricking their brain into seeing a virtual body as their own. If you've ever come across the rubber hand illusion, I have in my room alone many nights, it's a similar setup in that classic neurological parlor trick.
Okay.
I like to call it appear and disappear. A subject hand is hidden from view. Can't even read this straight. Beside a fake rubber hand. The real hand is stroked at the same time as the rubber hand.
Right.
And the brain gets confused between what it's seeing and what it's feeling, adopting the rubber hand as a real limb.
I always get confused when stroking with my hand.
Well, don't we all?
If you're not looking at it, you don't know what's going on.
That's
there,
right.
Tim.
You ever fall asleep on it and then try it?
Pardon me?
Huh? In Slater's study, 32 subjects were given an Oculus Rift headset and custom haptic, I believe it's haptic, bodysuit.
Okay.
The subject sees their virtual body, which mimics any real-life movements, thanks to sensors in the suit. Then virtual balls, Dave.
Oh, virtual balls. So
Yeah.
I'm not really being struck by real balls,
No,
but these are virtual balls that pummel me.
virtual balls is my hip-hop name, by the way. Then
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Mr. Virtual Ball.
virtual balls up in your face, yo.
Wow.
Yeah, I like it. Then virtual balls are dropped on the avatar, and simultaneous vibrations in the suit make it feel like the balls are hitting the subject's actual body.
Okay. I'm still not seeing the connection with having virtual balls bounce on me to make me get over my fear of death. I don't want real nor virtual balls on me, Tim.
Well, I think this is more a thing to help jugglers. Jugglers who fail miserably.
Oh, it seems like it.
Once the subject's brain has fallen for the trick, looking at the avatar as an actual flesh and blood body, the viewer's perspective detaches itself and floats up towards the ceiling. Half of the group were made to continue feeling the balls tap against their arms and legs, and were unable to move the avatar's limbs.
Wow.
The other half were able to move their avatar's limbs and to watch the balls hit their virtual reality body, but not to feel them. So it's just bang, 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 balls against your body all day long, but you didn't feel them.
That's what it was like when I was growing up.
Yeah. I'm so
Gym
sorry
class.
for you. Yeah. Only those that continued to feel the vibrations felt they were still connected to the virtual body.
I want to break out into a Marky Mark tune so bad right now. Feel the vibrations.
And this brought about a sensation comparable to an out-of-body experience. Oh, I get it. So if you're bombarded by balls and you feel it, you're connected to the body. If you're bombarded by balls and you don't feel it, you've been roofied.
Well,
Is that how it works?
I think the new term is Cosby'd.
Oh, Cosby.
Yeah.
Yes. I would like one Cosmo and a quick nap.
Good grief.
All subjects were asked to rate their fear of death before and after the experiment. And those that felt something close to an out-of-body experience reported a reduced fear of death.
But what is their fear level of blue balls striking their body now?
Oh, like
All-time high?
150,000%.
Yeah.
They can't go near a Chuck E. Cheese ball crawl without going into convulsions.
I can't either. Have you ever been in there? And I used to work at
I had to
Chuck
clean
E. Cheese
it
and
too,
clean it.
yeah.
Oh, dirty diapers.
Yeah.
Literal poop in the
People
bottom.
are pigs.
Poop. Poop.
Yeah.
There was poop. There was tokens. I mean, I found a lot of tokens.
Oh, yeah.
But dude,
what
it
you
was
had-
full-on dirty diapers were under the ball crawl.
The bacteria you had to go through to get the token.
Do they still do ball crawls anywhere?
Yes, they do.
Good God.
I think in McDonald's restaurants, don't they?
No.
Don't they?
No, you'll find no balls at McDonald's. I go, trust me. I
I know.
don't
I've
go
talked to a
anymore.
manager or two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If I have worms in their McNuggets, yes, but
Yeah.
no balls in the ball crawl.
There's got to be one or two ball crawls around somewhere.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oof.
I got to think. Maybe they just
See, I'll tell you what.
bleach into 'em every night.
Crawling around in the ball crawl terrified me more than my fear of death. I know what's in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh God. While far from conclusive, the researchers suggest that the virtual reality project could create an impression that it is possible for consciousness to happen separately to a person's body. The virtual reality experience provides an experiential but implicit learning of this possibility, Dave, for
Look
consciousness.
at you. I got to jot those down for Scrabble.
Yeah,
Those
I
are
know.
a couple
right?
of good pointed
Those
words right there.
Are huge. To exist outside of the body, the researchers write.
Right.
You can read the full study on plos.org
Yeah, I'll get on that.
as to whether you should let balls slap you in the body or not. The researchers claim that further work will involve investigating the longer-term effects on subjects, such as, whether you get post-balls traumatic syndrome.
Yes. That's what I'd be afraid of.
And putting it in the wider context of near-death experiences in virtual reality. So
Okay.
there you go.
Ugh.
So there you go, Dave.
Again, still not understanding how being pummeled by virtual balls makes you fear death less. Maybe it just makes you care less about life in general.
I think so, yeah.
Whatever. I've been hit with virtual balls. Do whatever you're best.
Been hitting me with balls all afternoon. I'm ready to die.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for the Daily Double. Got an audio Daily Double for us?
I do have an audio daily double, Dave. It just so happens that
Yes.
not only are they studying astronauts, but astronauts who are twins.
Wow, there are twin astronauts?
There are.
Please tell me they are hot and from Helsinki.
They are not hot, and
No?
they are hardly from Helsinki.
So they're not like twin hot beach girls astronauts? I would totally sign up for that study, Tim.
Dave, they're not even hot to their wives.
Real? Oh, stop it. You don't know that.
I know that.
All right.
I'm looking right at them.
Okay.
Yeah. They couldn't be hot to Stevie Wonder.
No.
I'm just saying.
Nice astronauts. All right, what have you got?
God, here we
What's
go.
the story?
Here's our audio daily double in the story from this news source right over here.
Time in outer space might change more than just your perspective
Wait a
on
minute.
life.
Wait a minute.
It might change your very
Pause here
biology.
for a second.
Okay.
Astronaut
Time and where? What's the word she used? What kind of space?
Let's go back and see.
Okay.
All right.
Time in outer space might
Outer?
change more.
What is this, Dr. Evil's daughter? Time and outer space, where we're going to use lasers.
Well, we're only like 12 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training. It might have been hitter space.
I don't understand.
No, let's try it again. Let's see.
But outer?
Time in outer space
Outer.
might change more.
I like that.
Eoder?
Outer space.
Eoder? I don't know.
Time in outer space might change more than just your perspective on life. It might change your very biology. Astronauts Scott and Mark Kelly are twins, and they're taking part in one of the most ambitious genetic
both got
studies
beat by
ever
the
to
ugly
see
stick.
how time and space might affect
very
genetics.
handsome.
The brothers are the perfect candidates for a genetic study. They're almost genetically identical, and one spent nearly a year in space while the other stayed on Earth. The official results of the study aren't out yet, but initial results are showing interesting differences between the twins. One difference was in the telomeres, the protective bits at the end of our chromosomes. After his year in space, Scott's telomeres were longer than his brother's. They have since returned
That's what
to
I hear
normal.
about him.
His microbiome changed too. In fact, nearly everyone working on the study is finding differences. Long-term exposure to microgravity can really wear on a person's body. This study could help NASA come up with ways to lessen those effects on long-term missions, like the one they want to send to Mars sometime in the 2030s. Even though it took less than a year to get out the preliminary results of the twin study, NASA said it could be a while before the full study is released, if they release the full study at all.
Now, see, that Laura Stevenson, she had a twin, that reporter.
Oh, does she?
Well, no, I'm just saying if she did.
We'd be in outer space together.
We'd be in outer space together.
So, what was the very last part of that story? Just give me that last bit again.
Okay, the last bit.
So why do a
Full
study?
study is released. If they release the full study at all.
You don't want that part.
No, right there. If they release it at all, well,
Yeah.
why would they do a study and then not release the findings?
Because there's plenty of money to spend.
Yo, my chromosome extensions is longer than yours, boy.
Yeah, I know. If you're the brother, are you bragging about that?
I would be.
Would you
Oh yeah, especially if you're the older brother.
be like, my telomeres are longer than yours?
Damn.
Be like, you peaked. You weren't supposed to peak.
Yeah. All right, where are we going next?
Where are we going? Let's talk CIA, shall we?
Yes,
We got a couple of CIA stories
we
here.
do.
One that shows the brilliance, the absolute brilliance of the CIA, Dave. Another that shows the absolute idiocy, if that's a word, Dave, of the CIA.
Speaking of which, tomorrow Daryl Sims will be our guest on the show.
And he's brilliant.
He's a world's leading expert on alien abductions. He's a former military police officer and CIA operative. So be careful what you say about the CIA, Tim, because they're listening.
He's nice.
listening,
He's a nice guy. He's a great guy.
Hey,
He's
how
very
long-
smart.
How long have you had that laser dot on the back of your skull?
What laser dot?
Oh, it's gone now. Oh, that's not good. All right. So you've got a CIA story.
Like I was saying, the genius of the CIA, Dave, is what we're going to talk about here. Documents are revealing that the CIA's use of the University of Edinburgh
Good
research.
Lord, do you need a tissue?
I think I shart myself. Research on paranormal activity. Documents released by the United States CIA have revealed that the CIA's usage of the University of Edinburgh research papers. That was hard to do, by the way. I
That
think
sounded more Hispanic almost.
did it.
La Infasora.
I'm practicing for Cinco de Mayo.
Are you? Cinco de Nino, as we called
Cinco
it last
de
year.
Nino,
People
yes.
are begging for us to have another drunken Monday night here, Tim, and I might actually oblige.
But
in the
isn't
future.
Cinco de Nino on Tuesday this year?
5-0 the 9. How is Cinco? Oh yeah,
5-0 the 9-0.
5-0 the 9-0. Oh God,
We'll
you guys
figure
missed
it
it. If you, we got to dig that out of the archives someday. It was a drunken mess.
Cinco de Nino.
Never do a paranormal radio show while inebriated on margaritas.
Free liquor and radio is
Or
always
do
a
it
good
more
thing.
often.
Oh
We should
yes,
do that more
yeah,
often.
More
Yeah,
often.
yeah.
Yeah. So the CIA's usage of the University of Edinburgh's, I'll just say Edinburgh, why not? Research papers on parapsychology is what we're talking about. The documents were released following a Freedom of Information campaign against the CIA, which resulted in the forced publication of 13 million pages from the CIA's databases. The University of Edinburgh research on paranormal phenomena utilized by the CIA dates back to 1980's Stargate program. I'm not talking about the TV program.
Oh,
Dave.
no?
No, I'm just their program.
Richard Dean Anderson was genius in that show.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah. Dr. Caroline Watt, the Kessler
What?
Chair. Dr. Caroline Watt.
That's what I said. What?
You almost went like Lil Jon on it. You're like, what? Okay. The Kessler Chair of Parapsychology spoke
I would
to
like to spend like a half an hour inside your head. I mean, I'm going to need a bleach shower afterwards, but I'd like to just spend a half an hour in there and see what's going on.
What?
All right, come on. So Dr. Caroline Watt did what?
What? Spoke to the student, that not a student, but the student is a paper, about what the Stargate program was and why the CIA might have been interested in it. She said the Stargate program was in part an attempt to evaluate whether any useful intelligent information or practical advantage could be gained through the use of so-called psychic abilities, such as alleged remote viewing or psychokinesis abilities.
Gotcha.
Their conclusion, Dave? No. That's what Dr. Watt stated.
What?
Yeah. What? However, Edinburgh psychologist Drew McAdam, who sounds every bit like he came from the city, posited that the CIA's interest in the paranormal was driven by a motivation to compete with Russia during the Cold War period. McAdams said to iNews they, meaning the CIA, were interested in anything because they got information that the Russians were into it. So anything the Russians did, they had to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the papers found in the CIA documents included a study done by Dr. Deborah Delanoy of the university's parapsychology department, in which she researches a 17-year-old named Tim from 1983 to 1984.
What were you doing during that time?
Well, I was only 13 at the time, so
Okay.
it wasn't me.
Sure.
Who claimed to have paranormal abilities. Under controlled conditions, he attempted to deceive researchers into believing he was able to bend a metal spoon with his mind, an ability he claimed to have gained at age 4. According to the report, Tim confessed to deceptive behavior. He said that he was a practicing magician who had wished to see if it were possible for a magician to pose successfully as a psychic in a laboratory. In other words, he didn't have comic books or a hobby. The larger implication drawn by the report was that a subject could always deceive researchers. Speaking to the student, Dr. What? Emphasized this commitment to critical evaluation. She said, regarding our educational activities, we know that lots of people have experiences that they believe are paranormal. We also know that there are many individuals who make money out of falsely claiming to have psychic abilities. It's important to help the public think critically about these experiences and claims. Dr. What? Characterized Delanoy's study as background research for the CIA, saying, I'm not surprised that an institution that was investigating possible psychic abilities would collect relevant previous scientific literature on the topic that would be showing due diligence, Dr. Watt commented. When speaking to the student, Dr. Delanoy, who has since moved from her position at the University of Edinburgh to the University of Northampton, because it's easier to say, declined to comment. Other research included in the documents concerned extrasensory perception. We like to call it ESP here at the show.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah. Dr. Watt explained that there are many possible pitfalls when conducting research in this area, and we are seeking to devise increasingly rigorous, it's hard for me to say, methods of evaluating claimed psychic abilities.
I see.
The published research testing performance on ESP tasks shows an overall positive and statistically significant effect. However, we also know that a publication bias exists, so that researchers are generally more likely to report studies that find evidence supporting their hypothesis.
What?
What?
Really? So we can't even trust studies because they're kind of hijinky from the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
According to Dr. Watt, many have questioned the... What?
That's what I said.
Yep.
Who?
What?
Okay.
Many have questioned the legitimacy and necessity of parapsychology research. However, she commented, history shows that the challenges of conducting parapsychological research, I can say it, can drive method. Oh, my God. Do you need to use 18-syllable words every time you open your mouth, Dr. Watt?
Edit the story and just cut her out.
No, I'm going for this. Oh, my God. This is the one that's going to get you the points in Scrabble. Are you ready?
Going to get spit on. I know it.
I know.
All right.
Things are going to come flying out of my mouth right now. You ready? Methodological.
Okay. That wasn't so bad.
that have wider scientific benefits. Presently, the Kessler Parapsychology Unit is an active department at the University of Edinburgh with a public debate involving Dr. Watt, Dr. Stuart Ritchie, Dr. Lionel Ritchie, and Dr. Thomas Back.
Hello, is it me you're looking for?
The Edinburgh Science Festival.
Wow,
there you go.
Fancy. Now, you said we had another CIA story?
We do have another CIA story, Dave.
Okay.
This one, not necessarily painting them in the best outlook.
All right.
This one claims that the CIA was convinced that a self-proclaimed psychic had paranormal abilities.
That sounds natural. They did a lot of testing and scientific research on that stuff.
Oh, they just fell for it hook, line, and sinker.
Well, are you saying it's not true?
I'll give you two names, Dave.
Okay.
Two little words.
Uh-huh.
Two little words. You tell me.
Okay.
Uri Geller.
I'm not Uri Geller.
No, that's who they thought had the big paranormal
Well, he's
power.
got a lot going for him. I don't know how, why wouldn't they believe it?
Because Johnny Carson debunked him.
No, Johnny Carson didn't debunk him.
Well, it was crotchety old guy, I know.
Randy, yeah. The amazing Randy debunked him on Johnny Carson's show, just for spoon bending, though.
Spoon bending.
Yeah, that's all.
Let me get into it.
Okay.
I'll tell you why they think so.
Okay.
The Central Intelligence Agency this week announced that it had posted.
I like the way you sound. I do. I like it. You just sound comfortable and relaxed.
You're laughing at me because I sound drunk.
Yeah, you do. Say that again for me, though. I just think it sounds great. You're so relaxed.
Central Intelligence Agency.
That's right.
The Central Intelligence Agency this week announced that it had posted more than 12 million pages of declassified documents online. One name included in the massive batch of records. By the way, never confuse your A's and your I's, because this could be a totally different sentence if I said massive batch of records might stand out, and that would be Uri Geller. Geller is an Israeli who claims to have telepathic, remote viewing, and psychokinetic abilities. You might know him from his claims of spoon and metal bending.
Mm-hmm.
I got a whole bunch of spoons that need bending at home. Should call them. Included in the newly online CIA documents are details of an experiment involving Geller and a drawing of a bunch of grapes. This is where the genius part comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Geller told the Washington Post that he had been that he became involved with the CIA in the early 1970s. The agency, he said, had grown concerned that there were people like me in Russia. Mm-hmm. He says there was a woman there who could move things with her mind, and they were concerned, he said. According to Geller, a CIA scientist received a letter from Israel, which came from another scientist who had seen Geller perform. So he wound up in America, he said, and began to undergo testing for the agency. I found it fascinating, but very grueling, because I became almost like a guinea pig, he said, of the testing. These experiments with Geller took place during an experiment conducted in August of 1973, in which officials wanted to see if a sequestered Geller could replicate artwork. Sounds like a lot of taxpayer
dollars.
A lot of
money going out the window.
To put it another way, here's how the documents explain the goal.
Mm-hmm.
The objective of this group of experimental sessions is to verify Geller's apparent paranormal perception under carefully controlled conditions and to head toward an understanding of the physical and psychological variables underlying his apparent ability. The experiment stretched on for a few days, and Geller was isolated in different ways according to the records. As a result of Geller's success in this experimental period, we consider that he has demonstrated his paranormal perceptual ability in a convincing and unambiguous manner, the documents state. On one of the days of the experiments, Geller was closeted in an opaque, acoustically and electrically shielded room. 2 drawings were randomly selected by searching a large dictionary and picking the first word that could be reasonably drawn. Okay.
That's an interesting way to do it. All right.
The first word obtained in this manner was fuse, and the object drawn was a firecracker.
That's pretty good.
They read, all target selection and picture drawing was done with Geller already in the shielded room. Geller was notified via intercom when the target picture was drawn and taped to the wall outside his enclosure. His almost immediate response was that he saw a cylinder with a noise coming out of it. He was continuously monitored by a one-way audio circuit. His drawing to correspond to the target was a drum, along with a number of other cylindrical-looking objects and drawings. The next word was bunch. The target drew a bunch of grapes. Geller told officials that he saw drops of water coming out of the picture. Then he talked about purple circles.
I love that song by Prince.
Oh, such a good song. Mm-hmm. Remember when he did that at the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh.
Purple circles, purple circles.
Best halftime show ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lady Gaga will never top it. Finally, he said that he was quite sure that he had the picture. The documents state his drawing was indeed a bunch of grapes. Both the target picture and Geller's rendition had 24 grapes in the bunch. Allow me.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Dun, dun. Okay. Geller wasn't always able to replicate the picture. According to the records, he remembered this differently in his phone interview, saying, "Every time I was tested, I passed." Sure you were.
That's good.
But for example, in one experiment called a pure clairvoyance task, a picture was drawn by a scientist who was from outside the usual group. That picture was locked in a room before Geller arrived. He was then led into a room and asked to draw it. He drew a number of pictures, all of which he rejected as not being applicable. The document stated. He said he got no clear impression and passed. The documents note more of a backstory to that particular experiment, though. It should be added that the picture was drawn by a scientist of whom Geller is not fond, and Geller asked at the outset if this was the case, they state. The experimenter said that this was not the case, since they did not know who had drawn the picture. Geller felt vindicated to some extent when he found out that his initial guess as to the artist had been correct. When asked if he thought the CIA wanted to use his powers for good or whether they had other motives, Geller said, "I cannot answer that. I can't, because I cannot deny and I cannot confirm certain missions that I was given to do." He's very, very mysterious about this whole thing, Dave.
Well, that's what makes him so cool.
He said, "But because I am ideological tailored." Funny, I was anti-tailored at one time. That's a whole new thing. "And I'm owned to love my country, Israel, and Israel had long relationships with America and the CIA and the NSA, the National Security Agency. I cannot answer that to you," he said, "but I can tell you one thing for sure. The CIA, NSA are in the business to protect the American people, and they have been in that business for decades, and I have nothing negative to say about the CIA."
Well, that's good. Way to cover your bases. All right, I got a quick story that's kind of a creepy ghost story with a ghost that looks a lot like a horror movie icon, Tim. What's going on with that? Did you see that? No, not that one. I think it was your other one. Yeah, it's yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Well, we go to Yorkshire, Dave, right over there across the pond in France. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, over there in France.
I don't think that's right.
Isn't that where Yorkshire is?
No, I think that's in England.
It's not in France?
No.
I was never good at geology.
Yeah, obviously.
Where they caught a ghost on camera, which is a dead ringer for Jason from Friday the 13th. Paranormal investigators believe they've captured a hockey mask-wearing horror movie villain, otherwise known as Jason, on camera.
Wow.
The shock ghost hunters have spotted a spook that's a dead ringer for Jason. Ghostbusters from the East Drive Paranormal team got a fright when they snapped a mysterious man in an empty room who they say is a spitting image of the hockey mask-clad, machete-wielding serial killer. 20-year-old psychic Jason Lindsay believes the spirit captured in the New York Italian kitchen in Wakefield, Yorkshire in November. Maybe it's just the cook. Maybe he's a hockey mask-wearing cook.
Sure, that's normal.
I mean, no,
not so much.
Maybe he had a game to go to afterwards. Is that of the evil former prisoner who was hanged in a nearby police station. All right. Ooh, look at that picture. Ooh.
Dude, it does look like Jason Voorhees. That's crazy.
He told the Daily Star he was convinced that the specter was the double of the murderous villain. He said, "We used a thermal imaging camera to take pictures and caught the image of a face behind the door, and it looked just like there was a person standing there."
When they took his picture, do you think they said, "All right, just say cheese"? Oh, see what I did there?
I see what
Friday 13th. Jeez.
I'm picking up what you're putting down there. Yeah.
I'm surprised you're not putting it back down.
I did.
Okay.
I kicked it across the room.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. We were all shocked. When I looked back at the photos, I realized it actually does look like Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. The team was summoned to the Italian restaurant, mainly to eat. No, I'm kidding. That was me. After scared staff reported seeing a glass flying off the bar, Jason immediately sensed the spirit of a disgruntled man in his 50s who had been disturbed by recent decorating work. Owner, really, that's why ghosts get pissed off now? Yeah. It's decorating work.
Yeah. If you don't have the flair for what they enjoy, why not?
That wallpaper's horrible. Boo!
It's a bitchy ghost.
23-year-old owner Josh Frith, the offender in this case of the bad decorating, said word of the spook sighting had pulled in the customers. He said it has freaked out some of the staff. The girls won't be in the building on their own, but some customers come to us because they have heard about the paranormal activity. The sighting is the latest in a series of ghost goings-on across the world. In November of last year, eerie footage was filmed in Bangkok, Thailand, but there's a lot of that's filmed there too. Shown is a shadowy woman with long hair perching on the boot of a car driving along a busy main road. In October, a South Wales woman was left terrified after she filmed a ghostly face flying towards her in her kitchen.
Yeah, that is a weird-looking ghost. Well, that's it for our supernatural news right now. We have to take a quick break.
Yeah? What do you want?
Let us in. Please let us in.
What do you want with me?
We just want to take you beyond the darkness.
All right, welcome back to the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. It's a Parashare Supernatural Monday here. We heard you guys. You liked the show last Monday. We're back doing it again this week. We've got some stories from our listeners. You've been emailing these in to share with us and share your own paranormal encounters. So if you've had any kind of weird experiences with the supernatural, you can email them in to me at dave@darknessradio.com. We're working on a way for you to share your stories. So like we used to take phone calls, Tim.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do that now with our new system.
Right.
But if you want to take the time to record your story and then email it, you can do that by emailing it to tim@darknessradio.com. MP3 format, is that usually best?
Yes, MP3 format.
If you want to record your story and you telling us about it, just start it off with your name, where you're calling from, and go ahead and tell us a story. And you can then email those audio clips over to Tim, and we'll try to use those in future episodes.
Yeah.
But until then, we'll be reading some of your stories. But this week, Tim, I want to do something a little different to start it off.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Sure.
How about some celebrities talking about ghosts?
Hey, I like it.
It was part of the James Corden show, Tim, the Late Show with James Corden. He had Johnny Galecki from Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
And this young upstart musician known as Sting.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, they're kind of a new thing, but they both shared some paranormal stories. Shall we listen to that?
Sure.
All right, let's begin.
Ever had a supernatural encounter?
I have.
Really?
I do. I live in a 16th century manor house in England near Stonehenge.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got a ghost in a 16th century manor house, you need one.
Yes.
And so when our children were very young, Trudy and I were in bed, I woke up, and in the corner of the room there was a woman standing with a baby, and I thought she was standing with the baby. And why is she standing there staring at me? And I reached over, and Trudy was there, and she woke up too, and she saw a woman and a child in our room. And then she disappeared. And I'd never believed in ghosts before that.
Had you been...
No. Absolutely straight.
Had you been that day, shall we say, picking mushrooms?
No. No. That was the next day. But
do you believe in ghosts?
Oh, yeah, very much. I have a cabin that's about 150 years old. Parts of it are. And it's very inhabited, yeah. And I have a rule. I mean, I just walk through, instead of, I don't want to start a war, So I just say, hey, we can all be friendly roomies, and we can cohabitate, and that's kind of how things have calmed down. But I also have a rule that we don't talk about it inside the house. If there's been something that's happened the night before, we go out on the land and talk, because why give it more? And do you have rules like that?
No,
I've just taken over the interview apparently.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm saying, hang on. You have a rule that you can talk to the ghost.
Yes.
But you can't talk about the ghost if other people are here. Do you not feel that the ghost at any point is going, guys, I'm here?
Yeah.
I would hate it if every time I was in my house, people went, let's go outside to talk about James. We're going to talk about you, Jack. We're going to go outside into the garden.
You make a good point, but it's worked thus far. There was one point where I did break that rule one night. Some friends and I were in the kitchen. It was late. It was very cold outside. They started to tell stories about what they had experienced in the house. And I said, no, we were outside. They said, well, it's too cold. We're not going outside. I said, all right, fine. And one friend then said, it's funny because I'm usually very susceptible to those kind of energies and I don't feel anything here. And the oven light exploded over her head. I just looked at everyone and went, good night. Let's go to bed now.
That's pretty cool.
That was cool.
Johnny Galecki from The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Leonard and Sting. Tim, he's this young upstart. God, he looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
The guy does not age.
No.
Is this the tantric thing he's doing?
The tantric thing, yeah.
What exactly is tantric?
Well, it's a lot of bendy pretzely getting into
Yoga-y
positions
things?
he really shouldn't be in
really?
type stuff. Yeah.
Isn't it just kind of he looks amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see him. I'm going to see him at the Myth nightclub here in the Twin Cities.
I'll see his tour bus drive by.
I'm
sure.
going to go. I'm hanging out. I'm going to go sit. It's a very intimate. I love his new album.
Really?
It's like 57th and 9th, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. I really like it. It's got a great vibe to a great feel. I'm looking forward to seeing him in a nightclub setting and surrounding.
That's hopefully by then,
big
nightclub.
Yeah, but hopefully by then they'll have lifted the restraining order. It's still not that big. I mean, it's considerable. I mean, we saw police at the Wild place, XL Energy.
XL Energy, yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
This will be a much different aspect to see Sting perform.
Yeah.
So, and I plan on throwing my panties on stage.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, and I'm wearing big granny panties that night.
Well,
so,
be prepared to be hit by a parachute there, Sting. That'll be fun.
Roxy! What the hell is this?
Well, I can't breathe. Can't breathe.
Why do you sound like Keith Richards? Sting's much more refined the way he speaks.
All I can do, really. Yeah.
Hi, Dave and Tim. So glad you guys are still on the air, and I hope Tim gets well soon. I live in Australia and would like to share the paranormal events that have happened in my life and ask if some of the career troubles I'm having could be somehow related. Well, they're looking for advice, Tim.
Uh-oh.
It's quid pro quo. They give us a story or two. We give them advice.
Oh.
Story for advice. Story, advice. We'll see. I'll do my best.
Sure.
In 1995, my mother purchased a couple of touch lamps for either side of the bed. The lamp on her side of the bed constantly would cycle through its phases, off, low, medium, full brightness. At night, the light next to my stepfather would not. They would swap the lights over, and the next night, the light next to her would cycle through its phases. The other lamp would remain off. She took them both back and the replacements, and they ended up doing the exact same thing. She ended up swapping them for lights with just manual switches, and the problem went away. Was it paranormal? Maybe. Well, not long after the lamp issue, my stepfather was in my sister's room when his silver neck chain with a St. Christopher pendant started to lift up at the back and choke him. The clasp was to the side, and lucky for him, it broke before doing any real damage. At this point, I should note that I never got on with my stepfather. Let's just say he blamed me for any woes, and on 2 different occasions threatened to kill me, and probably would have the last time if my sister wasn't there at the time. Oh, yeah. I'm already starting to see some dysfunction in the family. Mm-hmm. And we do see a lot of that. But I've always been intrigued by necklaces starting to choke people.
Yeah.
Where are they getting their necklaces? Because, my kids, they'll touch it and my necklaces fall off.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But these spirits are choking you to death with a necklace. What are you, Mr. T? You've got like the big bike chain around your neck? How the hell is that possible? In 1996, we moved into the house next door, and that's when the paranormal events really kicked it up a notch. When you were downstairs, you could hear someone walking or even running upstairs, even though you were home alone. The sound of someone walking up and down the hallway could also be heard at night when everyone was in bed. My stepfather had an office downstairs and would often say he thought that someone was walking down the stairs at night. He could even hear the sound of footsteps in the front entranceway, yet no one was there. In 1998, apart from the footsteps, nothing else really happened to us at this point. Then my sister started sleepwalking. It happened several times over the course of a month, and she would always go up to a door and start talking about needing help to unlock it. A short time after the sleepwalking episode, my mother woke up in the middle of the night to see a small child standing at the foot of the bed. Thinking it was my sister, she asked if she was all right. The figure turned and walked out of the room and toward me and my sister's room. Mom, thinking my sister was sleepwalking again, got straight out of bed and followed, only for her to discover my sister was still in bed, fast asleep, and there's no way she could have gotten from my mother's room to her own bed in the time frame it took for my mother to get out of bed and reach my sister's room. Now, that one I want to weigh in on.
Okay.
Because I've heard similar stories like this.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think, Tim, might be going on, and I think this is going on in a lot of these sleep paralysis cases, where people wake up and they're paralyzed and they sense an energy in their room or they sense something and it's terrifying to them. I think what might be taking place is astral projection. This very well may have been her daughter standing at the end of the bed, but it might have been the astral form. And when it returned back to the room, it rejoined the physical form of the body. So I'm starting to think in cases where people have sleep paralysis, and they wake up and they're unable to move and they sense something in their room or they see a shadowy figure in their room.
Mm-hmm.
I often wonder if part of the reason they're unable to move is because they're disconnected from their body. But because we have that bond and connection, could it be that simultaneously we are physically there and spiritually out of the body? That connection is still there, so we're still aware, but what we're seeing is ourselves outside of our body. And then that's why it dissipates so quickly, is because it rejoins us and consciousness returns. So I wonder if that has any part of the story. We'll have to, we're going to get somebody on that does astral projection and out of body work and see if maybe there's some sense to be made of that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've seen things, I've seen shadows moving around my house on occasion. It's been a long time. One of my favorite ones, remember, I was a glut on TV. All of these ghost hunter shows were running into these like little 3-foot, 4-foot tall Jawa figures.
Right.
These little figures with, cloaked hoods and stuff booking around.
Mm-hmm.
And this was when I was still married to my second wife. And I woke up and my bedroom door is far. It's closer to my wife's side of the bed because, I want the killer to get them first and I have time to scramble out the window. I mean, I'm thinking for my kids' sake.
Good logic.
I should stay alive.
Right.
I'm the breadwinner.
Right.
Yeah. So I bring home the bacon.
Yeah.
I'll be able to fry it up in the pan. So my thought was, somebody's got to go.
Yeah, might as well be the wife.
Tim, I'm not a hero. I'm no hero, Tim, is what I'm saying. But I'm sleeping on the other side of the bed. I wake up to see this figure flying around my bed from my side, which means it would have had to have gotten into my room and come stood by me and not wake me up. And I'm not a heavy sleeper. Mm-hmm. But I wake up to the sound of something moving, and I see this thing booking around the bed towards my wife. Well, being protective in one of my rare instances, Tim, I threw my arms over my wife, my arm, and my body, and I reached down and I grabbed this thing and was ready to kill it, Bam, grabbed it by the throat. And all of a sudden I hear, Daddy? And it was Pacey, my daughter, paranormal Pacey, when she was like 3 years old.
Yikes.
She had come in because she was afraid of something. So she goes, Daddy? And I go, oh, Daddy loves you. I'm just hugging you. My wife's like, what the hell? Why are you climbing on me and choking the baby? Shut up. Let's not make this any more weird than it needs to be. But
it could have been you.
It could have been you. Yeah. So I almost planted my fist through my little daughter's face and choked the life out of her. I thought it was some kind of creepy Jawa ghost I was saving my wife from.
Well.
Yeah. Turns out it wasn't. It was just my creepy little 3-year-old sneaking around my room.
In court, the intention would have been good?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I would have gone down swinging. All right, back into this. The next story, 1999, my first ever sleep paralysis episode. Sleep paralysis. It's like I'm a psycho, and I knew it was psychic, and knew it was coming. The usual, woke up, couldn't move. Felt like something was pressing me into the bed. Scared the crap out of me that morning. I woke up on the floor, which scared me more because during my sleep paralysis, it felt like I was being dragged across my bed. This person's really good. They put it all in like numerological order here. We're walking us through the timeline. It's now the year 2000, final year of high school. Things seem to quiet down in the house. The only constant this whole time was the footsteps in the hallway upstairs. Friends that stayed the night always said that they had strange dreams, and in those dreams I was always in trouble or they couldn't find me. Come mid-2001, Aussie wintertime, after leaving school and getting a full-time job, my mother and stepfather moved their bedroom downstairs to the former office. I got their old room, and my room was turned into a study. My sister remained in her room, so one night when everyone but me were out, I had the music up loud in my room, and I decided to go into my old bedroom to take a look at the printer that wasn't working properly. The door to that room was shut, and it swung open to the right, so I grabbed the handle with my right hand. And as I'm opening the door, I reach in with my left hand to turn a light switch on in all one fluid motion. And by the time I flick, the door is already halfway open. The moment I flick the switch, I feel a blast of hot air hit me. The light started to flicker and burn out, and there was a pulsating in my ears. I tore out of there as fast as I could, but my mom's dog sat in my room until everyone came home. I still remember the song that was playing at the time, Linkin Park. Points of Authority. Do you think it was Linkin Park that was messing with the mind of this young investigator?
Yep.
All right. I should also note that pets would at times act strange when they were in the house, looking at corners of rooms or suddenly running out of the room and refusing to go back in them for a while. Probably because it's flipping Australia.
Yeah.
And things will try to kill you in Australia.
Right.
Spiders, snakes, rougarous,
kangaroos.
That's Australian for beer.
Yeah.
Drop bears, Tim, the vicious,
Aborigines.
deadly drop bear.
Yeah. Drop bears?
Yeah, drop bears.
Where do they drop them from?
They hang up in trees, and then when you walk under them, they drop on you and try to eat you.
What?
Yes. Be careful. Yes, you'll find them on the endangered species list right next to the snipe.
Well, probably because sometimes they miss.
Yeah. Oh, damn it. All right. By the end of 2001, my mother split up with my stepfather, and everything around the house seemed to calm down. Mom was upset, but at the same time, we all felt free of his tyrannical rule. Just about every weekend, a group of friends would always head back to my place after a night of drinking, or we would have all weekend parties there. At one point, we tried to use a Ouija board, but nothing really happened. The planchette would move, but wouldn't spell anything out. So they had an illiterate ghost. I don't know how to spell, but I'll move the planchette. Why aren't you impressed? It's still an easy job, eh?
Exercises in futility.
That's right. The illiterate ghost. Why do they got to use a stupid Ouija board? For God's sakes, ask me to knock on something and I'll do it all day.
Doesn't anyone own a voice recorder around here?
You sound like Ringo. That's great. In 2009, my mother sold the house and moved out. A short time later, I had my first ever sleep paralysis episode away from that house. So far, it was my last. This time it was a little different, however. It felt as though something was passing through or into me. I have that after Taco Bell. It passes right through and out of me. And many times my children think there is a demon in the house.
Tacos locos.
Think like when a ghost walks through a person in a movie, as this entity's head was passing into and through mine, I heard a deep growl and it said, "Found you." You think it said it like that? Found you.
Probably.
You and your stupid plant shit. Put away the Ouija board, mate. I can't spell. A few seconds later, I was free and I rolled over and hugged my wife and didn't go back to sleep for the rest of the night. I did have a strange dream after this event, however, and I was on my back over a pit of fire being dragged down slowly, and what can only be described as a surfer version of Jesus came down.
Nice.
No worries, mate. Let me free you from that.
I think that was a Beach Boys song, wasn't it? Surfer Jesus?
Yeah. Surfer Jesus came down to me to put one hand on my back and one on my chest, then asked me a question. For the life of me, I cannot remember the question. Hey, are you holding? I could use a little puff. Can you help a brother out?
All right, so when you hit the big wave, make sure you got both your feet shoulder length apart.
That's right. The pull into the pit got stronger. This time he asked me again, this time more demanding, and I responded with a yes. The next thing I know, the pulling down stopped and I started to float. As I got to my feet, I woke up. Since that dream, I have not had any more sleep paralysis episodes at all. Now for the bad luck. Every company I've worked for long-term is no longer in business today. Well, thank you. The jinx. The first company I worked for, and to date the longest company I've worked for, was a franchise electrical store that went from about 200 stores across Australia to maybe just a half dozen, and now in Western Australia. The next company, and one I loved working for, closed down after 12 months of me being there. And just recently, the last company I worked for closed the branch I was working at after being there a little over a year, transferred me to their only other branch, and now it is voluntary administration, and I am again out of work. In 2008, I took a break from work and studied game designs. The GFC hit at the same time. And then over the next 2 years, I completed my course, got into more department. I watched all of the large game studios in Australia close down. Bad luck doesn't stop there, however. If I support a team at something and watch the game, they always lose no matter how much I want them to win. I will have hard drive failures, and all my backups will also fail or be corrupted. And the list goes on. So my question to you is, did I do something bad in a past life? Is it just bad luck, or could the paranormal events mentioned above relate somehow to my bad luck? And is there a way to break this bad luck? I'm willing at this stage to just try about anything. Thank you in advance for taking the time to read and responding. That comes from Josh in Australia. Yes, Josh. And the only way to break it is by sending us $1,000 American wrapped in nothing but dainty underwear and a white candle, mate. I don't know. I don't think obviously it isn't like the demons are like, Joshua likes the Birmingham Buccaneers. Let's make him fail. I don't think that's going on. Maybe you just need to find a career in a field that is more stable.
It could be
kangaroo wrangling. I don't know.
Kangaroo wrangling.
Yeah. Rougarou. It's Australian for beer.
I think it all goes back to Surfer Jesus. And this is why.
Okay.
If he didn't listen to the message that Surfer Jesus had, it could have been something very important.
Right.
Like, hey, you got all this bad crap coming down the pike, Josh. Here's a deal. Here's how you avoid it all. But instead, you're like, you're sitting there going, Surfer Jesus, wait a minute. Jesus can walk on water. Why would he need a surfboard? And you totally didn't listen to what it was he had to say.
Could be.
That was the beginning of your troubles, my friend.
That could be the problem right there.
Yeah.
Our next letter starts, my daughter Misty and I are docents on the USS Hornet. We help with the history, mystery overnight tours. Our last visit happened on January 27th, 2017. For the most part, the evening was like any other. We had 3 docents and 4 guests on our team. No K2 hits, but many interactions using flashlight throughout and using a pendulum in the chapel area. Usually in the engine room, we contact Stella, the resident spirit canine mascot of the ship. Stella was the companion of one of the volunteers who helped get the Hornet in shape when she first came back to Alameda in her museum role. He brought her on the ship while working on the ship, getting her ready for her big unveil on October 17th of 1998. I'm not sure if Stella passed on the ship, but we have all heard her bark and or whine during various investigations. But Friday, we were unable to get her to respond. My daughter and I sleep in the JOB, the junior officers' bunks, when we are working the overnight tours. The JOB is located toward the forecastle of the ship, where the anchors are located. I chose to sleep in bunk 11, one of the most haunted bunks on the ship. I have learned from previous encounters to ask permission to use the bunk, and I did so. Around 2 a.m., now see, why would you do that? If you know it's the most haunted, why not sleep in another bunk? Why ask permission to sleep in a haunted bunk? Just sleep in another bunk.
At that point, I'm sleeping in the CRB, the cardboard refrigerator box.
Outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, no interest in being in a haunted cot.
No.
Haunted bunk, but there it is again, a bunk bed. Haunted, Tim.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Gateway to hell.
Around 2 a.m., we decided to turn in. I climbed in the bunk, put on my earphones with meditations. Late at night, the sounds heard in this area can be disturbing, walking, talking, and working when there is no rational explanation. I fell asleep, and my iPod must have shut off sometime during the night. Although the sounds were completely muffled, I could hear a dog barking. I wasn't surprised. Damn it, Stella. Now you decide to say hi? Then I realized that this wasn't her usual bark. This was an alert bark. It sounded like what your dog would do when they're protecting you or your property. Okay, I thought. The bunks in the JOB are enclosed with boards to the back, are made of wood, and each set of 4 bunks, 2 bunks stacked and facing each other with the entry between the 2 set of bunks. I was lying on my side facing the back wall with my back toward the bunk opening. Just as I tried to slip into sleep, I felt a hand, full hand on my hip, firm pressure sliding down from my hip to my knee. I froze. Do I turn over and see who it is? I don't think so. I played possum and did a slight twitch, and it stopped. You'd think after investigating for about 5 years I would have rolled right over and said hello, but I didn't. I'm still working on processing what happened. I think what bothers me is the complete feeling of vulnerability. It isn't going to deter me, but I will from this point make a point of, say, prior to sleep, please do not touch me while I'm sleeping. We love your show. Looking forward to hearing of your many new adventures, and that comes respectfully from Pamela Ennis. Well, thank you, Pamela. It's a pleasure hearing from you. Yeah, I don't know. Ghosts grabbing your legs, give them a little rub.
I could use that. I actually got a pain right around.
All right, come here.
Near my knee.
Hi, Dave and Tim.
Hi.
Love the show. Wanted to write in and tell you a couple of my most memorable paranormal experiences. I work as the village clerk for a very small village in Michigan, about 900 people, no stoplights, that kind of small. I've been here a little over 18 years and have had quite a few weird things happen in our old village hall. It's not an everyday kind of thing, but once or twice a year, I will have stuff happen that I just can't explain. There's a police department here in the building, so the cops wander in and out occasionally, and I do get a few walk-in customers, but 90% of the time I'm in the building all alone. When you come into the building, you can turn right and walk into my office, or you can go straight and it will take you out to the main meeting room. There is a back door to the building, but the outside has no handle to get in, and the inside is located in the police department, which is kept locked at all times. So anyone who comes in through the front door has to leave the same way. Well, here's the first story. One day, about a year and a half ago, as I sat at my desk, a woman walked into the building with a small child. It was a little girl with long brown hair wearing a red jacket. As they walked in the front door, I heard the little girl chatting away about a mile a minute. The woman turns right and walks into my office while the little girl, who by then had stopped talking, kept going straight and walked out of my sight into the meeting room. The woman sits down in the chair in front of my desk and proceeds to pay her tax bill. We chat for a minute or two about the weather and whatnot, just everyday kind of chit-chat, nothing in particular that I can remember. But as we're chatting, I was thinking to myself, gosh, that little girl is being awfully quiet. I wonder what she's up to out there. The woman stands up, says to me, "Have a great day," and heads out the front door. Of course, my first thought was, what the hell? Did she just leave her kid here? I get up and go into the other room, and there's nobody there. Story 2, as I was leaving one night, I locked my office door and closed it behind me. I locked the front door in the building, was about to head out to my car when I glanced to the back of the building and saw that I had not turned off the light in the small kitchen. I went back and turned off the light, and I was coming past my closed doors and locked office door to head outside. Something knocked 3 times on my office door from inside. That one startled me. Thanks for reading my stories. Keep up the great work. I look forward to the show every day. Your faithful listener, Julie Glenn. Well, there's nothing to be afraid of if they knock 3 times, Tim. We've learned that lesson. What does that mean?
If it's on the ceiling, it means you want me.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. If it's on your door, it means I want your door.
Twice on the pipes, and the answer is no, isn't it?
Is that how it goes?
I think it is.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm having flashbacks now in polyester pants and butterfly collars.
Hello, my name is Shelley, and I'm writing to you about our phantom phone.
Oh, hello.
And voices that we've both heard over the years. To set the stage, we live in a small farmhouse that's almost 100 years old. We've lived here about 16 years and have heard a phone ringing. Not a modern ringtone, but the vintage ring. You know, the one that I say to play if I go into a coma, Tim? Because that will, if I'm in a coma and I'm laying there and I start hearing, that will drive me nuts. Okay. Just as I'm sure the people listening out there hated all 3 of those. But that is, to me, the most annoying noise on planet Earth. And if I'm in a coma, I'm 99.9% sure I will sit up just to answer that stupid. How about you?
It kind of sounds like this.
What the hell are you talking? What sounds like that? Your ringer?
No, that's what would get me out of a coma.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to do that. I'm just
right.
going to put an old phone next to him. I bet
I'll
that
probably
works.
sleep right
And then when
there.
you answer it, I'll go, guard, pretty lady.
Whatever that was, sure.
Right. My name is Shelley. I'm writing to tell you about our phantom phone and voices that we both heard over the years. To set the stage, we live in a small farmhouse. It's almost 100 years old. We've lived here about 16 years and have heard a phone ringing. Not a motor, or modern, not a motor phone.
A motor phone.
No motor phone, not a single luxury. Not a modern phone, but a vintage ring. Now, I know what you're thinking. You can get vintage ringtones on your cell phone. This has been going on since before anyone in the house had a cell phone. We only had a house phone, just a regular ring. I would be busy doing work around the house and I would hear a phone ring and pick up the house phone. No one was on the line. We have both heard it at times, different times of the day. The loudest I've ever heard it was when we were starting the framing of our new house next to this house. We had overslept and a phone woke us up. This was not our cell phone and we had gotten rid of the house phone years ago. The ring started as a normal ring, and as I didn't pay attention, it got louder and louder until it sounded like it was right next to my ear. We've never been frightened or scared of this, don't know where it comes from, and have searched the house, never found any vintage phone. All of a sudden, I heard the front door open, and what I thought was Dan's voice say, "Shelley, can you come outside and help me for a minute?" I said, "Be right there." A couple of minutes later, went in the living room and no one was there. I went outside. No one was there. I walked around the house. No one was there. No truck or car in the yard. We live in a rural area, not so close to neighbors or traffic. I went back into the house and said, "Very funny, very funny house, but I'm busy." Neither of us have ever felt it was happening to be menacing or evil. Have we felt cold spaces? Yes, we live in a drafty old house and tell each other it's just the house, reliving memories. Some of us can feel or hear them. Not a scary story, but hope you enjoyed it. Oh yeah, when you get to the new, or when we get the new house done, we are moving in and tearing this one down. We'll let you know if anything happens. We'll let you know. Love your shows and thanks for listening. And that comes from Shelley Clark in Saginaw, Missouri. Speaking of Missouri, I'm going to be going out to Missouri here, Tim. Mm-hmm. We're going to be out at the Belvoir Winery, the Oddfellows Asylum.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing that in July. Bill Chappell, the paranormal tech guru who's built most of the equipment you've seen on the paranormal TV shows. He's also appeared on numerous episodes of Ghost Adventures. Mm-hmm. Myself and Chris Fleming, the psychic sensitive, who was part of the Psychic Kids TV show, Dead Famous. You've seen him on Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, The Haunted, you name it, he's been on it at one point or another. He's going to be a part of it with us. We've got tickets that are available for sale right now if you check out darknessevents.com. Darknessevents.com. You'll also see other events that will be a part of this year, where you can come out and visit Tim, myself, or both of us together. Go check out darknessevents.com. Well, that's it for tonight, Tim. Always fun. Maybe we'll revisit Parashare and Supernatural news again next month. What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it again. We'll mix it up. Every couple of weeks, we'll come back with it. Tomorrow, though, Tim, we're going to talk about alien implants and alien abductions. That's one of the creepiest aspects of the whole alien scenario to me.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that tomorrow when we return to the best in paranormal talk radio. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Darkness.